Alright guys, so welcome back to Online TESOL. We're going to be looking at Module 2, Lesson 3. And this lesson is all about how to use the Blackboard effectively. So, using the Blackboard. Now I know for a lot of you guys you might be thinking like, how to use the Blackboard? Like, oh, that's simple stuff. And you're kind of right. However, there are a lot of teachers out there who have very poor skills when it comes to using the Blackboard. They might be very messy, they might write different words in different areas, and it can get kind of confusing for students, right? So we need to take a look at some basic stuff today. And the very first aim of today's lesson, aim 1, is that we are going to learn the basic Blackboard rules. Pretty simple stuff, but actually really important. The second aim of today's lesson is that we're going to learn how we can use the Blackboard as an aid in presentations. So, of course, as a teacher, you're going to be presenting a lot of different information, right? And we're going to look at how you can better emphasize information using the Blackboard, and also how you can use the Blackboard as an aid to present structures. So we're going to be looking at something called structure tables, which are quite vital. And lastly, our third aim of today's lesson is that we're going to be taking a look how we can use prompts for practice. Now, right now you might not know what prompts for practice are, but don't worry. We're also going to take a look at how we can use simple drawings as an aid to present information, such as vocabulary. So those are our three aims for today's lesson. I hope you guys have a lot of fun, and let's get started. Okay guys, so getting started with activity 1 here. As you guys can see in the book, you can see that there are pictures of two different teachers, right? There's a male teacher on the left and there's a female teacher on the right, right? And the question that we have here is, which teacher's technique is better, right? So if you take a quick look at those pictures, it's pretty obvious that the female teacher is doing a much better job. Her way of using the Blackboard is far superior to the male teacher, right? So I want to talk about those two teachers, and I want to talk about, if we take a look at the question here, what is he doing wrong, right? And then later we're going to talk about the female teacher and focus on her, and we're going to talk about what is she doing right. Okay, so let's take a look at that male teacher first. Now take a good look at that picture, right? What do you think he's doing wrong? Now, as a quick example, when he's writing on the board, he's like this, right? And he's got his hand in his pocket. He's kind of leaning to the side and he's writing something. Hey, how's it going? Or something like that, right? It doesn't look that great. So, what are some comments that we could come up with here? I would say that probably the first thing that you notice here is that he has his hand in his pocket and he's kind of leaning to the side, right? Now, overall, what we could call this is basically bad posture, right? So what is posture? Now posture, of course, is the way that you're standing, right? So if you're standing up straight, you have good posture, right? Very nice. But if you have bad posture, maybe you're leaning over like this, you're hunched over, or in this guy's case, he's kind of leaning to the side. So I'm just going to write here that he has his hand in his pocket. And he is, sometimes we say, slouching. So he's got his hand in his pocket and he's kind of slouching, right? It doesn't look that great. Now, why is that really important? I think for adults, I think we don't really care very much. If our teacher has his hand in his pocket, he's slouching over, not a big problem, right? However, if you're teaching kids, kids are very impressionable, right? They're easily affected by adults. So I think he's just kind of presenting a bad and kind of lazy image to the class. It just looks bad, right? Try not to have bad posture. After that though, guys, another big thing that he's doing here is if you look at the picture when he's writing on the board, he's kind of writing like this. So what is he doing? He's blocking the Blackboard, right? It's not good. So how can the students see what he's writing when he's right there? He's blocking everything. So another negative thing that he's doing is he is blocking the board. Uh-oh, that's not good. Okay, continuing to take a look at him, do you notice anything else? Look at what he's not doing as opposed to what he is doing. And especially if you compare that to the female teacher in the right-hand picture, he's not speaking while writing. And why is that important? Well, we're going to talk about that in just a little bit when we talk about the female teacher, but yeah, he is not speaking while writing. Okay, so those are the three major things I wanted to talk about in regards to the male teacher. These are the three things he's kind of doing wrong. There might actually be more things, maybe you guys can find them. But let's talk about that female teacher in the right-hand picture, right? So if you guys take a look at that female teacher, what is she doing that's so good? What is she doing right? There's a lot of things that she's doing really well. A lot of them are basically just the opposite of what the male teacher is doing, right? So the first thing we could mention here is that she has excellent posture. Now, unlike the male teacher, she's standing up straight and tall. She's presenting a great image to the class, right? But take a look at the picture again. Where is she standing, right? Unlike the male teacher, she's not blocking the board, right? She's not right in the middle of the board. So what is she doing? She is standing to the side. So that she doesn't block the board. And let's think about that for a second. So, of course, she's standing to the side while she's writing. You know, how are you today? Excellent posture, right? And then also, she's not blocking it so the students can see while she's writing. But there's one more reason why she might want to do this. If you take a look at her face is not looking at the board. She's got her face kind of on the side. Of course, she has to see what she's writing. But at the same time, she can keep an eye on her students, right? So that's another reason why you want to stand to the side. So we could also say here, yeah, she is standing to the side so that she doesn't block the board, and she can keep an eye on her students. And if you have a really tough class, and maybe you got a class with a lot of maybe poorly behaved kids, maybe for some reason it's really tough, yeah, you definitely want to keep an eye on your students, right? You want to keep an eye on Brian and Peter. Otherwise, they might do something bad while you're doing something on the board. Now, if we continue to think about the female teacher, another thing that she's doing as opposed to the male teacher here is that she is speaking while writing. Okay, now I'm not going to write down every reason why she's doing that, but actually there are two good reasons why you want to continue to speak while you're writing. Firstly, it helps to keep the attention of the whole class, right? If you're speaking and writing at the same time, students are going to pay attention, right? But secondly, it also provides a good example of correct pronunciation, right? So while she's writing, she's saying she is speaking while writing, right? Fantastic. Good for her, right? So yeah, we got that she has excellent posture, she's standing to the side, and she's speaking while writing. There's a couple of other things I'd like to point out with her too, though. And I guess actually the male teacher is doing this also. But she is writing in a straight line. We could also mention here that she's writing very clearly in a straight line. And yeah, it's large enough for everyone to see. These things might seem minor, but I'm pretty sure you guys have probably had a teacher in the past who used to write in very small print. Sometimes it was difficult to see, you know, stuff like that, right? So yeah, basically she's doing an excellent job and he's doing a job that's not so good. Anyhow, guys, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to take a look at our basic Blackboard rules. So get ready. Alright guys, so we're going to take a look at the basic Blackboard rules. So I got this question on the board here. What are the basic Blackboard rules? Now before I get into this though, I do want to mention that, you know, these are not things that you necessarily have to do, but these are things that you should try to do, because I'm pretty sure you guys have noticed so far, maybe in the first module and maybe later on, that I'm not perfect when it comes to using the blackboard. Sometimes I have trouble writing in a straight line, or sometimes it looks a little bit messy. I understand, right? I'm not trying to be a hypocrite. I'm not trying to be someone who says, you know, you should do this and I don't do it myself. But I try my best to do it, right? So you should try your best too. So thinking back about